can I leave my businesses and can my businesses sustain, run, grow without me? How much do the leaders of those companies, because I've delegated management responsibility for all my businesses, how often do those people need me or need my guidance or something like that? And before, when I was like in the thick of it and running my business, I could take a 5-day vacation and I would come back and I would be stressed and have a million meetings on my calendar and feel underwater and have to dig myself out. And at some point, it was like, do I even want to just take this vacation? It's going to suck when I get back.
Chris, excited to have you here. Yeah, it's kind of a collision of worlds. I was looking for the right framing. I mean, you're LinkedIn, social, I'm SEO content. Obviously, you're a much bigger planet, I'd say, than my planet, but always good to kind of bring different approaches together. And we both use the studio, so I figured why not use the excuse to chop it up in person.
Hell yeah, man. And I haven't done an in-person interview, it feels like, in at least a year, so it's like good. And I feel like the energy at the in-person is just so much better, so much different. So I think that, yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. And then just a point, like the size of the sphere doesn't matter at all. It's like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And then everyone's got their own stuff. Like,
Yeah.
when my sphere was the biggest, I was actually the least happy. And
Oh, yeah.
and so there's like what I've learned is just focusing on yourself and like especially not comparing yourself to others.
Have you heard of the book, The Courage to be Disliked?
I've heard of it. I haven't read that
Yeah,
one.
I recommend that one. I read it recently, and it's a little bit of a clickbait thing, but I mean, the short version is exactly what you said, is like, got to get away from that comparison. And it's, of course, I led with that in that podcast. So always a work in progress.
Always, dude. Same for everyone.
So when I was prepping for this, I was, of course, checking out your LinkedIn and seeing what you'd been talking about recently. And something I noticed is you surprisingly hadn't been publishing for a month, at least when I was doing this research last week.
Mhm.
So curious, yeah, what impacted that? Were you
Yeah.
on vacation, something else, or what's happening?
Yeah, this was the for the podcast, we had enough podcast episodes queued up, so the podcast continued as normal, a normal publishing schedule. But I was away. I took my longest vacation I have in my life and definitely in my professional career. And I went to Sydney, Australia, the Great Barrier Reef, Queenstown, New Zealand, Auckland, and then Fiji, and was gone for almost a month. And doing some exploration, self-reflection, but a big part of it was a test. And that test was, can I leave my businesses and can my businesses sustain, run, grow without me? And how much do the leaders of those companies, because I've delegated management responsibility for all my businesses, how often do those people need me or need my guidance or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
And before, when I was like in the thick of it and running my business, I could take a 5-day vacation and I would come back and I would be stressed and have a million meetings on my calendar and feel underwater and have to dig myself out. And I know this resonates with a lot of people that are listening to this. and it's like at some point it was like, do I even want to just take this vacation? It's going to suck when I get back. And this time I took the most time, almost 4 times longer than I ever have. And I come back and I feel ahead. I feel like I didn't do a lot of stuff, but I got a lot of stuff done. I feel like the people that are in charge of my companies are in a great place. My customers, the people that work there. And the whole rationale for this was that about 2 months ago, I was, it's not like thinking, it's more like inviting thoughts to me. And the thought that came to me was freedom. And as I've thought more about the idea of freedom and what it means to me, I have learned that there's actually 10 types of freedom for me. And I'm sure that with some thinking that people could find other ones, and that's fine. But for entrepreneurs, I think most people think there's one type of freedom. It's called financial freedom. And I know a lot of people, and I coach and interact with a lot of people that make $100,000 a month or even $1 million a month, or what the number actually doesn't matter, and they don't feel free at all.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember saying to myself, as I was growing my business to a very large business, and before I put my business partner in charge, and she's been doing an amazing job. But before that, I remember saying I felt the most free when I was doing 40K a month with one employee.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, easy for you to say, bro. Like, you have a bunch of businesses, they all do well, they kick off profit. Like, and yeah, I'm proud of my accomplishments, but I'm also sharing for people that were in my shoes 5 years ago to not make the same mistakes and chase the wrong things that I did. It led to a lot of pain, a lot of dissatisfaction, a lot of tough times that I think that most people could avoid.
Hmm.
And so that whole, and then it's also like sort of a transition period for me right now as I shift away from my like core focus on like B2B marketing and sales and growth. And I'm way more focused now on helping high level people unlock their potential, find the superpowers that exist inside of them, find the peace and bliss that I've been able to find for myself, for them to stop doubting themselves and listen to what they already know about what they need to do to get into those states. I feel like a lot of people, and how I felt, like get a little trapped. Like I felt trapped in 2022 and 20 parts of 2021 and parts of 2023 in my own business. I like grew this big machine that I'm super proud of, and a lot of people did a lot of great things. And meanwhile, I feel like I'm in a jail because I make a lot of money and I don't have any time freedom. I don't have any social freedom. I have very little relationship freedom. I have very little creative freedom. I feel misaligned with my purpose and mission.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
and I could go on for the whole list if we want to break that down. But that was the long-winded answer of this trip for me, which was a really important trip for my life.
Yeah, I'm going to be the book recommend. I swear this will be the last book I recommend on this. Or I recently read. Have you heard of the Five Types of Wealth from Sahil Bloom?
I actually saw that recently, and yeah, his five on wealth are on my list
Yeah.
because it's interesting because I just thought about them independently, but two minds will end up in the same place. But I actually have five other ones that fit into the
Oh,
list.
really? Yeah. So his are time, social, mental, physical, and just actual wealth or financial wealth. I'm guessing is the last one. Yeah, I just finished the book. I mean, I think the most valuable thing from it was just what you exactly said is like I think a lot of societal framing leads us to financial wealth,
hmm
and then we forget about all the other things, realizing that a lot of time it's balance across the five, and in your case 10. So what are the
Yeah.
five that are not on his list?
I don't remember his exactly, so I'll just say the 10
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I've come
Yeah, yeah.
to. So time freedom, I can do whatever I want whenever I want. I'm never on someone else's time.
Yeah.
Social freedom, I only share time, space, and energy with people that I want.
Mhm.
So if you have to go to an office and there's people there that you don't want to spend time with, you don't have full social freedom. If you have to go on Zooms with clients that are bad clients and you don't want to share time with them, that's also not a thing.
Right.
If you don't have enough money, so you have to go to shitty hotels and shitty restaurants and interact with people that you don't want to interact with, you don't have full social freedom. The next one is creative freedom.
Okay.
Having the freedom to explore and be creative around the things that interest you. And so I've had times where I have a lot of creative freedom and at times where I don't, but I think that is an outlet. Financial freedom, everybody knows that one. I think that my learning on that one is that you need a lot less money than you think to be financially
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Location freedom, so I can be wherever I want at any time. So having to work in San Francisco because that's where the office is, you don't have location freedom. Having to put in a PTO request to take time off, you don't have location freedom. Being an entrepreneur like me and not being able to take time off because your business is so reliant on you to keep running and going, like that's not location freedom.
Right. Yeah.
Purpose and mission freedom. So having the ability to, one, understand why you're here, and two, be able to pursue that mission without distraction is a type of freedom. Relationship freedom, meaning that relationships, I have no attachment to outcomes. I have no dependence on relationships. I love all the relationships that I have, but I know that if relationships don't serve me and my energy, that I can fully walk away from them at any time.
Okay.
Health freedom, that I have the health to be able to do all the things that I want to do. Like some people are 400 pounds and can't fly on an airplane anymore. Some people like wanna, yeah, and then they can't fly on an airplane, so they can't go see their daughter or something like that. That's an extreme example, but there's a lot of other levels of health
Right.
freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
Spiritual freedom. So,
Mm,
and I look at that. People think spiritual is woo woo, and I want to think of a different term for this, but it's like knowing that everything that you need is already inside of you and trusting yourself and not doubting yourself.
makes sense.
Um, and then lastly, mental freedom. So having the freedom to understand your mental state, understand that your thoughts and beliefs control your reality and how you experience the world, being able to free yourself from thoughts and ideas that no longer serve you and not being stuck in those. So those are
Yeah,
the
that's
ten
great.
10 types of
Yeah, it's
freedom.
interesting that I don't know, there's like like some byproduct of the environment we're at somehow that like created this uh I don't know, yeah, more emphasis around this idea. I mean, it's great that you're pushing on it, Sahil's pushing on it,
It's a key
movement.
time in human
Yeah.
evolution. Yeah.
So you were publishing a lot of content. You took some time off. You're going this direction. So are we still going to see you publishing on LinkedIn, or like what's your new
Yeah,
emphasis? Yeah,
LinkedIn I'll be
yeah.
publishing. But for a long time I spent a lot of time trying to teach people what to do. And now I'm going to spend a lot more time helping them understand that they already know what to do.
Okay, interesting.
And so that like a lot of people let's look at an example, right? So someone comes to my live event, right? And they're asking about how do I get people in my company to like buy into this idea, right? Like I have this idea and about what we're going to do for marketing or sales or product or whatever. And but nobody on the leadership team of my company is listening to me, and they're like, so how do I convince these people to do it, right? And the real answer is that you need to go work with people that are aligned with you, not me tell you that you need how to convince people to do something. And so the resistance that you feel of these people aren't listening to my ideas is actually just a subtle hint for you to know that you're not in the right place.
It's the wrong question,
It's
essentially.
actually the wrong
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
And so searching outside for an answer about how to fix this resistance instead of looking at it and saying this resistance is here for a reason. It's telling me that I shouldn't be working at this company and that the people that I'm working with aren't aligned to the way that I think, and having the confidence and clarity and trusting that you are a capable person, that a lot of people would be lucky to have you work at their company, that you could start your own company if you wanted to, and be able to detach yourself from that and say, there's a misalignment here. It's not working for me anymore. I'm going to go somewhere else. And I think that a lot of people know that that's what they need to do. And they have historically come to me for answers about how to fix the situation instead of how to remove themselves from the situation. And I no longer want to be an enabler for people to continue to stay in
yeah.
situations that aren't right for them.
From a agency owner dynamic, or I mean, now you have managing partners. It seems like in each agency you have, there's a natural dynamic of we have that, but at scale of like customer selection. You have like customers who come in, and there's some where like you have that exact instinct about them, but there's also the impression of, oh, I got to keep food on the table in some ways for my team. So maybe I should take this on. That'll help them in some ways. Um, I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but how would you think about that in terms of client selection in the same way? Yeah. Or customer
So
selection?
yeah,
Yeah.
like I advise a lot of like it doesn't have to be about my business. Let's
Yeah.
say another agency that's doing 200K a month, right? And they have like whatever 5, 10 employees, and the owner is like the only freedom I have is financial freedom. I get all this profit, but then I have to spend half my time with all these clients. I have no creative freedom. I can't write anymore on LinkedIn because I'm in all these meetings. And when I'm out of the meetings, I feel drained because I'm with all these bad clients. Uh, and I'm like, so what do you need to do? And they already know the answer.
Yeah.
The answer is I need to get rid of these clients and go down to 120K a month instead of 200K a month, and then I'll get all my energy and freedom back. And they know exactly which clients they are and different things like that. And then what they say is, but I just want to hold on to these clients for another 2 to 3 months so that the better clients will show up, and then I'll be able to get rid of them. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You actually need to release
The
the
birds.
bad energy and the negative things before the good ones will come to you. And so, and having the validation, like I'm just a validation at that point. I'm like, what do you need to do? And they know, and they tell me, and then I say, yeah, just listen to yourself. And then from there, it's also figuring out what is the process, right? You don't have to say 10 clients, forget all of you on day one, but start with the worst one, the one that sucks the most of your energy. Go and do that one tomorrow, and then see how it feels, see what happens, and then methodically work your way through it. It's about recognizing that freedom isn't all about money. Like when you really when you really break it down, and then also there's like fear around it, right? If I like let go of these 8 clients, I might have to let one person go on my team,
Right.
right? And there's a fear around that. And trust me, I have let go of, whether it's being fired or with layoffs or things like that, like maybe over 50, maybe 100 people in total in my career. And I was so scared and felt so much shame and guilt around having to do that for the first time. And then just recently, like 3 months ago, I had a meeting with one of the people that I had to let go. He was one of my video producers. And when he was laid off, he was about to have his second child. He like didn't know what to do. And what happened? He started a video production agency that now has 20 employees. He's never been happier, had more
Nice.
successful. He turns to me and says, "You doing that for me was the best thing that ever happened to me." When I got laid off from my job, or I got I guess asked to resign, fired, whatever you want to call it, that was what powered me to start my company. And so it's like, instead of, I do understand the idea of feeling shame or guilt for having to let somebody go, but also trying to understand that when you like release the person you're letting go is probably the person that's least aligned with your business, and being able to release them to go and do something greater that aligns with their purpose, I think is something that I
Mutually
you can
beneficial.
mutually beneficial. As you don't do that and you don't listen to yourself, you continuously further and further doubt yourself and lock yourself in a jail as an owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. That's great. I mean, the condition there that's most problematic is the first thing we talked about is our societal connection to financial wealth in a lot of
Mm.
ways. Like what Sahil's point in the book is you talk to most people that have money and they will, no matter where they are in the wealth scale, they'll always say, I'll feel happy when I get 2 times as much.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there, and then you're just on a hamster wheel or a rat race that never ends.
Yes. So, I mean, I
And it's
think
because you don't you say, the feeling for me was I'm not good enough, or the deep-seated belief,
right. Yeah.
right? And so I'm not good enough until, right? I have 100,000 followers. I'm not good enough until my business does 1 million. And then when you get to 1 million, you still don't feel good enough, and you say, "Oh, okay, well, I was wrong. Now it'll have to be 5 million. And now I'll feel good enough when I get to 5 million." All of a sudden you're at 20 million and you still don't
Yeah.
feel
You're
good
still
enough.
looking at the
And
30 million
and
and you're
now it's
like, I
just
look like,
growing,
I
and
feel like
you
shit.
realize, wow, I'm playing the wrong fucking game here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how I think it sounds like you're doing some coaching in this side of thing. That's super helpful. What is how do people break that condition? I mean, I would guess coaching is a great place to do it, but are there any other tips for people to kind of break out of that hamster race?
Yeah, and
It's by self-awareness. Yeah.
when I say like coaching, just for clarity, like I don't like make money as a
Oh,
coach.
okay. Yeah.
So like I have businesses that I own majority share, and I coach, guide the people that
Oh,
managing
okay.
partners that run them. I have businesses where I have a minority share, and when those people are working on things, I guide and coach them and help them. I do free live events where people come and ask me questions, and I coach in that
Oh,
way.
okay. Yeah.
And it's really interesting because through all that level of coaching, it actually helps me discover a lot more about myself. So I find it's almost like people are like, "Thank you so much for helping me," and I'm like, "Thank you so much for helping me." Um,
Yeah, I can see that.
and so, um,
I'm literally doing this for myself talking to you right now. Not that I'm helping you.
yeah, yeah.
But
And so, how do we get people to break out of the financial part of it?
yeah. I mean, that feels like the hardest part of the equation necessarily from I mean, I've walked through that same lens of like terrible clients. Should I fire them? That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Problematic. And
Yeah, and then it's like, "No, I'll just hold on to them for," and I know they're gonna churn, but we'll wait 3 to 6 more months so we can try to wait for another one, is so we don't have to fire Susie or Jimmy, right?
right. Yeah.
Um, And so I think like the biggest, most impactful thing that's for me
Mhm.
um, has been a journaling routine that reprogram helps me identify what are the thoughts and beliefs that are holding me back or not serving me anymore. Where did they come from? They definitely didn't come from me. They were put in me from some way. And then how do I systematically and methodically replace them with something that's more empowering belief based on the future and reality that I want to live. And you can't just remove limiting beliefs or conditioning that don't serve you. That you can't just get rid of it. You have to replace it with something new. So
Okay.
there's a good
Mm.
process for that. So like one example recently is like um, from somebody else. This isn't from me, but someone that I've been helping. Like I don't want my business to be 200K. I want it to only be 80K because then I'll be more free. And then so the underlying thought is if I make more money, I'll be less free,
Yeah, yeah.
or if I make more money, I'll have more responsibility, or whatever the underlying pattern is. And so if you can recognize, okay, that's the thought, and then you can say, actually, like I can make twice as much money and have twice as much freedom, or however you want to like rewrite it, you can rewrite that and then let reality just follow what you believe. It's like if you look, a business is just a mirror of the energy, thoughts, and beliefs of the owner or the person that runs the
Right.
business.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's just a reflection of that.
I literally have had that exact same probably every agency owner has, like, "Oh, I wish I was 20, 30 people now, 'cause I'd have freedom," or whatever. I haven't thankfully had that recently because I think I got out of that a little
Yeah,
bit, but
yeah.
I probably went through that trough as many agency owners do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like being smaller is easier,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And like
Less people
it's
to
really
rely on
it's
me.
really the thoughts that are creating that situation.
Right.
Yeah, there's other ones like I need to suffer to be successful that
Oh,
I've
hmm,
gone through, many other people go through. So it's just about like, oh, when things are hard or things aren't working, we just got to grind and we just got to 14 hours a day and push through the bad clients. And if we just post more on LinkedIn and we just do more stuff, then we'll like get through it.
right.
And all you're doing is literally just ignoring a major hint of like something is wrong here. Like when
Yes.
you feel resistance with a client, it's for a reason. It's like this client isn't meant for us. When you feel resistance with an employee or your business partner or a relationship that you have, a friendship, it's like this is a hint, right? It doesn't mean that you have to cut that person out of your life right away, but you have to listen to the hint and say something is off here. Let me know what I need to do to correct it. And the crazy thing is that you already know. You just ignore it and suppress it.
Yeah, there's a very healthy lesson there of, I definitely have had that same identity crisis of, like, never wanting to do a layoff. We've done like one significant layoff in the time Siege has been around, which is
Yeah.
12 years now. Um, but the thought process that very often within those contexts of layoffs, you're and maybe I'm going too deep on this, but when you do
There's
let
no such thing
people,
as too deep.
but you're often the people that end up like disconnecting from the business are those people that are probably not in the right role for them in a lot of ways, and you're doing a mutually beneficial thing to make that separation. It's very rarely that person's fault. It's more a role disconnect problem.
They feel
Yeah,
just as
yeah,
misaligned
yeah.
as the business is.
Right. And
Mhm.
they need permission. I mean, obviously, that's, yeah, equating layoff to permission
Is
is a little harsh, but yeah, there is some positive things hypothetically that can come out of those situations.
I've never experienced, and I'm sure someone will be like, "Hey, Chris, like you're wrong. Here's a situation that I know about this person." But personally, I have never experienced a situation where they're like a person that had that happen to them that was part of my company didn't have something better happen for them in the next 6 months.
Yeah. And if you lead with grace, you give
Yeah.
them appropriate severance and obviously help them out and find other jobs. I mean,
And then over
all
time,
that.
like
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs and business leaders, like we will learn how to run businesses and hire and like choose clients and scale and grow businesses where that never needs to happen.
Right. Yeah. That's
Um,
true.
and it's not like just us down here, right? Like Stripe, Meta, like all of X, you could look at all of them. All of the businesses around tech and things like that had to do the same thing. It was like a business reset, a reset for how entrepreneurs build businesses. Many people out there still haven't learned their lesson. They're just like playing the same game that they were before, and they can play that game. But there are many people that learn the lessons that will build meaningful, impactful, freedom generating businesses,
Yeah.
a whole different paradigm for how entrepreneurs run. You don't need venture capital. There's 1 to 5% of businesses in the entire world that should raise venture capital, but it's almost the inverse. 95% of founders think that they'll never be successful if they don't raise venture capital. I'm really trying to change that mindset right now. The world is so much different than it was in 2012.
For sure.
You can build a software product in 48 hours, like Lovable, Versal. There's plenty of them. And like not need, $2 million in dev and 24 months of runway to get your MVP off the ground. And I think that as more and more entrepreneurs recognize this, more and more people that are a $250,000 salaried salesperson or a $150,000 marketing director or whatever will leave the company that they work for and build their own $500,000 to $1 million business
More easily.
and with 1 or 2 or 5 employees and be way more happy.
Yeah.
And that level of like fragmentation in the market is already happening. It's undeniable, and will be good for the people that choose it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you remind me of two things that kind of inversed freedom in some ways. I mean, one for agency owners in particular, I had I don't know if you were ever at this stage, but there was more of a personal like ego association with how many employees you had for a point. Like, oh, I have 100 because that's very externally obvious and you don't have to say your revenue necessarily. I think now with AI, it's almost like
It's the opposite.
it's the opposite.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
not doing things well. So that's
exactly. Yeah.
great for
No, but people would ask, "Oh, how many
happiness
in
in some ways.
2021?"
Yeah,
The number one question, it wasn't how much revenue you're doing, it's how many people work for you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think a
And
lot.
VC the same way. VC, like, yeah,
Exactly. And it's and yeah, the paradigm is completely shifted where it's like most people, not most people, that's wrong. Like smart people that I interact with are now trying to build a $10 million business with 10 people
right.
instead of a $10 million business with 200 people, which would be the VC objective like a couple of years back.
Yes, yeah.
And so that overall switch creates much more profitable businesses, much more capable, aligned talent. Risk of layoffs gets completely eliminated. How you grow and scale them can change completely because you don't have this pressure of, oh, I need to get this client so I can pay for Jimmy's salary next week. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think
Yeah.
everyone, especially in tech, and the like high valuation VC world felt that, and then all of the ecosystem around it. So like
As
the
well,
agencies that
right.
serve it and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and thankfully, yeah, it's kind of unwritten, but does give us as agency owners permission to like build a company that makes us happy more easily.
Yeah, and I remember in like 2020, I was like talking to some tech guy that had raised $50 million as a CEO or something like that, and I'm telling about my agency and how it's growing, and how we have like whatever 9 people and do 2 million in revenue or something like that. And he's like, "Oh, so you just got yourself a lifestyle business," and like almost like talking down around it. Um, and now it's like, no, your business should be the vehicle for you to live the life that you want. Like it's almost the complete inverse. And like,
Right.
while you raise 50 million bucks and probably don't clear that for investor returns and spend all this time making literally a
Nothing.
salary and no money and being someone else's fucking employee, like there's a bunch of other ways that you can build a business.
Right.
And so I just think that, I mean, for me at least, it was tying not feeling good enough, so tying my self-worth in my business performance and then my like social media success, um, and then shifting that from once you can remove that block and say like I'm good enough, like, and really believe it, it's not as simple as it sounds, let me tell you. That then you have this realization of, oh, like now I know the life that I want to live. I know what, and so I can just design my business can be a vehicle to me to live the exact life that I want.
Right.
And when you live in that alignment, your employees are happier, your business partners are happier, your customers are happier. You repel bad clients and bad employees. You attract and magnetize great clients and great employees. It's a really powerful state of
Nice
being.
cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel horrible trying to change gears off of this. I don't know how we're going to do it. This is a content and SEO podcast, content marketing podcast after all. Um, are you down to talk some like tactical marketing things, or is just where your mind's space?
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, maybe something kind of connected that I imagine you experienced, and maybe this was part of it, is like, uh, I mean, I'm relatively similar to you in a variant way where I do a lot of the marketing for Siege personally. Something that comes up a lot, not a lot, but it comes up was like the questions I get from potential clients are, what about the like, is there another part of the team I should talk to? Am I getting handed off to junior people? I'd like to meet those people. Like, have you experienced that objection? How do you deal with that? Like, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I had to learn this lesson being like I don't think that I got out of client work in my first agency until we were 35 or 40 people. So I'm like still like
Okay.
being the main lead on like three
Mm,
big customers with 35 employees.
yeah.
Um, and then like how can you like run and grow your business and think about how to allocate resources and make proper decisions, and when like that there's that level like there's no delegation almost at that
Right.
level. Um, and I think it's also about recognizing as the founder and the entrepreneur what is the right place for me, right? So for me, I always thought, oh, I own majority share of this agency. I guess that means that I have to be the CEO.
Yeah.
And in reality, a better spot for me probably would have been founder
Oh,
and
yeah.
having a CEO. Jocko at Winning by Design runs the same thing. Where then, yeah, if I want to work with a couple clients, I can work with them. If I want to like take meetings with teams, I can do that. If I like want to do my podcast, that like it fits all of my and then I'm like the power of the innovation, but all of the day-to-day operations and the fires, someone else does that. Um, and so I think that detachment can be helpful for people. And yeah, you might be the agency owner that's like, I'm gonna be the CEO and scale this thing to 100 million. Awesome, do that. The key is to know to because I told
Thyself.
myself that too, and it was like misaligned with my skill set and identity.
Right.
And so knowing like really understanding yourself and like where that fits for you leads to a lot of power in the business. And then how you get out of like the client work like is once you learn the lesson. Now one of my new companies has 3 employees, and I'm out of it already.
Nice.
Yeah, so like
You're much better at it.
yeah, so
Delegating.
now I am the owner.
Right.
And there's even more. It's not like I'm the CEO that doesn't do client work. I'm the owner that guides a managing partner who helps with people that does client work.
Nice.
Um, and so over time, understanding, and some people love it. Like I, for a long time, loved the tinkering from 0 to 1 million, whether it's an agency or a software product or a B2C product, it didn't matter. And then over time, realizing that you can get a lot of leverage and a lot of freedom by guiding and inspiring identifying capable people, inspiring them, guiding them
Right.
to deliver on their potential and their vision. Like I get a lot more satisfaction out of that right now. I also get a bunch more freedom. And that's a position that's earned. Like
Yeah.
but over time, like I theoretically earned that position 2 or 3 years ago. Um and I guess just wasn't ready to step into it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's that almost seems like another thematic thing that continues to get louder, and you're hopefully this will further help that of like the power to delegate to people. Like that is now a sexy thing to do, and it's a good thing. I think there are more managing partners. I mean, I think of the tiny founder. I forget his name, but you might know who he is.
Mm.
But kind of that Warren Buffett model of like owning several properties and kind of delegating appropriately, I feel like it's getting more prominent,
Yeah.
or at least socially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a personal holdings company
Right.
is one
Holding
way you
company.
could
Yeah,
look
that's a
at
better way
it.
of framing it. Yeah.
Even whether it's structured like a holding company or not is irrelevant, but the mechanism of how it works is
Right.
like somebody has equity in a bunch of different businesses that all run independently with separate owners and operations, and there
Right.
might be some overlap in customers or IP or other things, but they're all self-sustaining entities that can be
Yes.
sold individually. And I think that, yeah, there's a lot of people that whether they're like buying 7 laundromats or 7 agencies or a mix of a bunch of things, or some people do it with e-com. Like, yeah, I think that can be a really good vehicle. And another thing that I've learned, or just sort of found, is that like usually when I started my first bit like I had two before that were just solopreneurship, but then my first true business that scaled with employees, like I on paper, like people would be like, "Bro, you can't do this. You're not ready. Like, look at your resume. You've been a marketing manager and a director of marketing. What do you know?" Like, um, and what I found is I've started to hire and bring people in is that people that on paper seem not ready, but you know that they are much higher probability of success than the proven executive.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's like it's wild. Um,
Even in those kind of managing partner roles?
Even in the managing partner
Oh,
roles.
okay. Hmm.
Yeah. And I'm like totally done with like putting a job description out and interviewing people. Like not because of my role, but like not my companies won't do it either. Um,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
that the best people that I've hired, it's either been one of two ways. The top 10 for sure. It's probably more than that. Um, where it's either I'm like, I have to hire this person, like I just have a knowing of it, and then I like follow it. Like that's how I hired my business partner Megan Bowen, is the CEO of Refine Labs right now. And there's been other instances of that, or more often they come to you there's no job description and they say, "Hey, I love what you're doing and I want to be a part of it." And I usually at that time it's like weird that that the perfect role for them is like sitting there. Those people are not motivated by money. They're not coming in with a ton of demands about how much money they make. Obviously, they need to make a living, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like they're like,
Yeah.
"I'll do it for free," but they're not coming in like an experienced executive saying, I need to make $450,000 year one for your company that doesn't even do 450 in revenue." So they're willing because they see the opportunity, they see the growth, and they're aligned. And it's just really interesting how they like come to you. There's like I believe there's an energetic pull.
Something
Um,
so this real recently just happened to me. Maybe this I could see it happening for you because you do so much LinkedIn content. You're probably like natively thinking about an idea, you're communicating it to the world, and that leads into sort of what the next thing you're working on connectively. And then that's maybe how the role exists. That literally just
yeah,
happened for I was like narrating strategy shift, and then we had a role open. I was like, "Oh, this person's perfect." Yeah, but maybe not always, but I can see that happening sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, in general, like there's fake delegation, which I've done many times.
yeah,
Trust me, I've done many times, which is like, here, you own this, and then when shit hits the fans, all of it falls back on me.
right. Okay,
Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
when things are going good, all good. When shit hits the fan, it all falls back on me. That's fake delegation. And then you have real delegation, which is here you go. And when things are going good, things are going great. And when things aren't going good, I'll coach you, but it's yours.
right.
Right? And being comfortable as the delegator that when things go wrong, you're not going to go in there and firefight. That's actually the decision that you need to make.
Yeah, yeah, that's the hardest
Right? Like
part.
when I hand off one of my businesses and the business goes from 80K a month to 65K a month in the first 2 months, like, and it's going down, are you going to rush back in there and try to fix it, or are you going to let the people do what they need to do?
Right,
And so it's purely the responsibility of the delegator to draw that line and be comfortable with the line.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. I want to make sure I get some kind of tactical content question in there. You obviously do amazing LinkedIn content. So I was like pattern matching some of your old content, not or recent content. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
what does Chris do beyond just being smart about B2B marketing? Something I generally noticed is you were leading in that hook area with the ICP, like you're mentioning CEOs and CFOs, or is also or $50 million SaaS. Pattern matched successful companies, and this $50 million SaaS did this.
Hmm.
I was curious if that was like deliberate or otherwise, if this is the wrong question beyond Chris, what do you
It's good.
share there? Yeah.
Yeah.
What are kind of frameworks or
Um,
you use? Yeah.
it's that people don't appreciate the differences in stage.
Hmm.
And so on LinkedIn, it was one of the reasons why I do not consume content on LinkedIn, and I actually generally feel at times repelled from consuming content on the platform, is because it's generalized advice that should not be generalized. And so it's like there's a major difference between what you would recommend to a $1 million CEO, a $15 million CEO, a $50 million CEO, and it's way fucking different when you get above 100, and it's way different when you get above 250, and it's way different when 500 and a billion. And it's like, no, just build your podcast, and it's like, here you go for everybody. And so the point of that for me is to demonstrate expertise and to create clarity around this is the right thing for these people. And I think
Right.
as a it's a responsibility as an evolved, like, experienced content creator to be a lot more direct around who is this for. And I think because most people chase likes and comments, they want it to be general. They want everybody to think that this advice applies to
Right.
everybody so they can get more likes. And I've detached from likes and comments years ago. Um, and I'm way more focused on sharing my perspective and helping people. And so yeah, that's the
That
reason.
comes into
That's the
that.
reason that I do that. Yeah.
I mean, you just spoke to the fact that you're out of client work, so maybe this is not the best question, but you probably at least have ideas that you shared or at Refine Labs or what have you. But how that passes through to recommendations for other B2B or companies, like what does that look like framework wise? Are you saying the same things? I mean, it would make sense intuitively to me, get very specific, but yeah, what other kind of like framework type recommendations do you make? If that makes sense? Like
Tactically,
you're giving client, I mean, every client has a different solution, I'm guessing, but they see you do a lot of LinkedIn content, and then
yeah.
naturally you have to teach your team to do some things. I'm sure just having senior people helps customize that, but there are probably some kind of consistent strategies or ways you do things that may help make clients more performative, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are, I don't know if there's a few of those today that could be worth sharing, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So like for my first agency, like basically people I do client work with 7 employees, and people follow me around and read, like, uncover all the things that you're doing and document them and process and automate them, and then other people own them and keep building it. Like
Huh.
the biggest realization for a founder is that there's a lot of people that can do each individual thing better than you. Or
Yeah.
if they can just do it 80% as good as you, and you want to feel like you can do it better than everybody, which I no longer believe, like, even if they just do it 80% as better as you, that's how you actually build a business, and that's how you actually create freedom. And clients will accept 80%.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and then ongoing, like, at this point for that business, like, I've released, like, management responsibility like 2 years ago, right? So my business partner has been running that and working with the team and innovating on the
Right.
product, and that's been going for a long time. Um, and for my newest one, like my new one, um, basically what I found is my job is to get to the point where I can build a clear sequenced 3 to 5 year vision and plan that someone else can then execute. And so maybe that happened in my first business when there was 13 people, and my next business when there's 3 people, and the number of employees doesn't matter. But once that thing has been set, then I can know who can do it, and then I put someone else in charge to do it.
Okay.
That's become like way more. That's been a learning for me doing this a couple times. I got out of my first agency got out being that I promoted someone to run the day-to-day operations
Yes.
and delegated way too late.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Makes sense. So so it's as simple as like they're actually learning from you and building processes off you. You're not even kind of directing them what process to build. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's how it's
Yeah.
worked. That's how it's worked for me. It doesn't have
Nice.
to work that way for everybody, right? So if you're a founder and you're like not that like marketing savvy, you could have your co-founder that does that, right? Or you
Right.
could have like some all-star employee that's your paid media expert, and someone follows them around so that they have the paid media processes that everyone else can follow.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
sense. So you've had some controversial takes on SEO in the past on LinkedIn. We're an SEO shop.
hmm
Yeah, maybe you're not even. Are you still actively involved in Paceto? You're not saying that's your thing, right?
I have ownership interest, and then
Right.
I have a
Okay.
managing partner that
Yeah.
runs it. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm understanding it correctly, you're advising companies on their go to market strategy. Is that fair to say?
Quite a bit. Yeah, but it's like quite a bit more broad than like whether you do SEO or paid.
Oh,
Like
okay. So maybe
it's
this is
like
not the
not
right
it's not really
question.
marketing advice
Okay.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to talk about
Yeah.
SEO.
Oh, I'm curious what your current perception is of.
So let's just talk about it as a user,
Yeah.
okay? So like
Yeah.
I'm a user of a search engine, right? And I want to like I'm thinking about traveling to Bali at some point, right? So I'm trying to figure out information about Bali. So I go to Google search and I search, good things to know about Bali, best times to go to Bali, things like that. And I look at the results and it's like cumbersome and there's a bunch of click on links and it's like mostly travel ads and a bunch of fucking bullshit. And I go to ChatGPT and I say, tell me all the best things about going to Bali. And it literally knows me and it gives me the best answers. And like, why would I ever go to a search engine ever again? And like, that's,
I'd go to YouTube, watch videos.
it depends what you want to learn.
Yeah.
But if you see where it is and where it's going, and I'm just speaking as my own personal experience as a user, this is not business advice for anybody.
Right. Yeah.
But for me as a user, like I never want to use search engine again. Like I think that
Yeah.
they're outdated. I think how they rank things and how you have to find the right information takes way too long. It has no context of who you are as a person. Um, and so just that, right? And then if you look back like 3 or 5 years when I was actively talking about, some of the drawbacks that I saw in like a pure SEO strategy, which is that you just have to wait for someone to realize they know you and then come and look for you. And like, why wouldn't you also supplement that with targeted advertising that goes out and gets the people that you want and pulls them in so they are more likely to search for you or your product, your category earlier in the process? And so I think just a one-dimensional SEO strategy, unless you're in like, and even so, and it's not even an unless, it's like even if you are in a category like running shoes, like if you're just in an SEO strategy in running shoes, you're just in a race to the bottom of as a commodity, I feel like. So it maybe like as a more refined, mature way to say it is like, because a lot of companies would just run an SEO strategy.
I agree.
And that
That's
would
not a
be,
good
that
idea
would be, and
anymore.
that's,
Yeah.
and it's
Problematic.
like, or SEO and trade shows.
Right.
And it's like, what are you doing? 3 or 5 years ago, there was room for an SEO strategy, but it shouldn't be the only thing. And now I think that like SEO is changing. Like it has,
Yes.
and it's really like understanding how search plays across all platforms, not just Google. And I think a lot of people have been super invested in Google, and I think that Google is losing the. I would rather search on TikTok. I'd rather search on Instagram. I'd rather search on ChatGPT before I go to Google and YouTube too.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we'll see. I think they could integrate that kind of personalization that ChatGPT does relatively easily. We'll see if that comes.
We'll see.
That I think that would be super helpful. I'm sure make their ads even more robust and powerful.
Hmm.
I mean, there's some element of location personalization, but not
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
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 yeah, and like best hotels in X or best restaurants in Y. Like best restaurants in Y, I use OpenTable now, right?
right.
Like best hotels in X, like I usually use ChatGPT. Um, or Expedia. There's like a bunch of niche specialized search engines or AI that are able to fill specific searches with much better data and reviews in particular. So yeah, I just think broadly that the search space has been vulnerable for years, and it's really coming on
To
now.
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a for SEOs listening. I mean, it's a diversification play now. Like, there's always going to be room for how we're optimizing each of those things you say. It's just a matter of how big is that Google pie going to be?
That's
Yeah,
always been
yeah, yeah,
portfolio allocation
yeah,
across a marketing budget.
for
Yeah.
sure. All right, Chris, this is great. Yeah, we went off target a little bit, but a lot to think about. So I appreciate you coming on. Let's do this again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me,
Cheers.
Ross. Good to do one in person too.
Of course.
Thanks,
Cheers.
man.